A Virginia man claims he spotted Bigfoot and he has the video to prove it.
Finally.
He captured something amazing on his cell phone camera, video of Bigfoot.
Someone came across a lengthy trail of extremely large footprints.
Just see something that's maybe a once-in-a-century discovery and go do your 9-to-5 job.
Bigfoot first appeared in the popular consciousness 60 years ago. Giant footprints perplex residents, read the headline in the Humboldt Times. The local newspaper in Northern California stated that a road construction crew had found human-like footprints that were a gigantic 16 inches long. The paper was the first to coin the name Bigfoot for the enigmatic creature that inspired the prints, and the beast has been stomping through the American imagination ever since. However, one Texas guy claims to have shot and killed a Bigfoot and has evidence to back up his claim. What is the backstory to all of this? Join us in today's video as we explore this bizarre event in detail. Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, is a huge ape-like creature that some people think roams North America. It is a cryptid, or species rumoured to exist, and like the Chupacabra or Loch Ness monster, there is little physical evidence to show Bigfoot exists. But it doesn't deter purported sightings of the ape that never displays its face or Bigfoot enthusiasts from attempting to prove mythology is true. The majority of Bigfoot sightings actually occur in the Northwest, where the creature is associated with Indigenous tales and stories. The British Colonist newspaper in Victoria, Canada, reported a description of a gorilla-type creature captured in the area as early as 1884. According to the Canadian Encyclopedia, further tales followed, most of which were dismissed as hoaxes. Author of the Sasquatch book, John Green, collected a list of 1,340 sightings from the 19th and 20th centuries. However, the modern Bigfoot or Sasquatch story resurfaced in the late 1950s. The most famous Bigfoot video is a brief clip shot by Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin in 1967, known as the Patterson-Gimlin film, or Patterson film. The footage, which was shot in Bluff Creek, shows what looks like to be a big and hairy bipedal ape, or Bigfoot, striding through a clearing. The video's validity is still being questioned, although it was most likely a fake, with the ape-like creature being a human dressed up in a suit. Photographs of people, cars, mountains, flowers, sunsets, deers, and other things have become crisper and clearer over the years, with the exception of Bigfoot. The logical explanation for this disparity seems to be that the creatures don't exist, and that images of them are merely hoaxes or misidentifications. Bigfoot, though, is not only large in height for some, but also big business. The mythology has long supported a prosperous economy. Rick Dyer, a self-proclaimed Bigfoot hunter, laid a trap for the elusive beast on September 6, 2012 in San Antonio after hearing a 911 call reporting a huge hairy beast consuming a deer in the woods. This is what he said: "I wanted to attract him, so I went out and acquired deer urine and pork ribs, and I hung the pork ribs on the tree. I sprinkled the deer urine under the tree, so because Bigfoot is attracted to deer, the Bigfoot returned to devour the pork ribs in the middle of the night. I jumped out of the tent with my weapon and shot at him a couple of times." Rick claimed to have shot and killed a Bigfoot and then posted some frightening images to prove it. The pictures seem to depict a frozen body of a deceased adult Bigfoot, with a face, lips, and in one broader shot the entire body coated in fur can be seen. He further claims the beast is 8 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and weighs around 800 pounds. One shot also appears to show a large sternal scar, supposedly caused when the creature was autopsied at an unnamed Washington State college. Rick named the creature Hank and took the corpse on a national tour, charging visitors to view the body under plexiglass in a wooden coffin and finally pulling in close to $70,000. Cliff Barrickman, a field researcher, says he's not shocked by where it all started. Bigfoot is supposedly very popular in the Lone Star State. Texas is not generally thought of as Bigfoot habitat, but it absolutely is, he said. They have a distribution that is quite similar to that of black bears across the land, and they have the same needs as Sasquatch. Eastern Texas receives a lot of rain from the Gulf of Mexico as it moves north. The more rain an area receives, the more Bigfoot sightings it receives. The state's Folklore Society released a story about the strange case of the wild woman of Navidad in 1924. When white settlers first arrived in the area, they saw Sasquatches and reported them as wild men or wild women, and you can read newspaper stories and letters from settlers dating back to the 1920s or even the late 1800s. But as we all know, there is a distinction between reports and evidence. The most obvious red flag about Rick's allegations was that he has a history of hoaxing, most notably in a 2008 event in which he and another guy claimed to have discovered a Bigfoot corpse in Georgia, which turned out to be a frozen Halloween costume. If Dyer's name seems familiar to viewers, it's because he also made headlines in 2011 when San Antonio police arrested him for allegedly scamming people on eBay by selling them Corvettes he never delivered. Dyer, on the other hand, stated that he was on a tour with his most recent kill in order to rehabilitate his reputation. It's absolutely impossible to be faked. I don't have the budget to fake it, even if it was possible, Dyer explained. When challenged for more information on the allegations of DNA tests, an autopsy and an MRI, Dyer stated that it took an unnamed West Coast university 15 months to complete them all. Those who consider themselves professional Bigfoot researchers take offense at such deception. Anthropologist Kathy Strain is convinced that Bigfoot exists, but she is not convinced that this particular specimen is authentic. What I find problematic is that he says he shot it with a shotgun several times, but there's no evidence of that on the body, she said. Dr. Stephanie Schuttler, a wildlife biologist, also observes that something about the face does not add up when examined closely. I don't understand why there are all these marks around the eyes and the lips look extremely chapped. It appears to live in a very cold area, she remarked. Even bizarre is the fact that this was allegedly shot in southern Texas. However, Schuttler has an even more significant problem with the way it has been kept, stating that it almost looks like the eyes are glued shut. It just doesn't look like anything from the natural world. It reminds me of a Hollywood costume. Experts believe that not only is this monster not Bigfoot, but it is also a creation devoid of any substance. Rick may have provided images of his supposed creature, but he never produced the results of his autopsy. While this may have made him some fast money, serious researchers say it was also a setback for their work and the credibility of the entire community. In another startling video, a man claims to have proof of Bigfoot's existence by showing off a fuzzy lump he believes is the creature's severed head. Peter Kane, a New Yorker, posted the dubious video on YouTube where believers praised and thanked him for vindicating them. Sasquatch hunters even proposed running a DNA test on the bizarre-looking object to finally put the doubters to rest. Footage shows Peter examining what he believes is the elusive beast's head, which he claims his father shot in 1953. He claims to have kept the 8.5 stone cranium in his freezer since then. He did not really elaborate on the reasons behind why he is only now getting it out. Despite its humorous appearance, Peter insists on the head's authenticity. I've taken a lot of shit on my YouTube channel, people saying that I'm always making jokes, this is not real. This is real, he claims. And at least some of the individuals who have commented on the video appear to believe him. One wrote, "Looks the same as the one we saw here in Florida. I was not a believer till I saw one for myself. Now I question everything, but I know it's real." In October, a farmer claimed to have observed a family of big feet rushing through his California ranch carrying a pig. Meanwhile, in June, a mystery video surfaced showing a Bigfoot-like monster swinging among trees near a California hiking trail. In another case from April, strange footage showed a big man-like monster peering out from behind a tree towards vacationers. Over the last 2 decades, the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization has received at least one report from every state except Hawaii. The most recent sighting was when a woman in Florida reported seeing a creature that resembled a large pile of soggy grass. Other evidence in the database includes a scat, nests, and noises. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is nearby to hear it, it may not make a sound, but it appears that someone will report that it was knocked over by a Bigfoot. But how come the evidence hasn't improved, despite the exponential increase in the number and quality of cameras? Still, the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Wild animals don't exactly mug for photos, and the planet's ever-shrinking forests nonetheless regularly unwrap surprises such as the saola, an untamed relative of the cow that was discovered by biologists in Vietnam in 1992. The Saola, on the other hand, did not have armies of amateurs stalking it with cameras. Many people, with or without concrete evidence, certainly want to believe in Bigfoot. This shows that we are dealing with human imagination rather than human evolution. Do you think these monsters exist? Let us know in the comments section below.